what are the challenges? I'm interested to talk more specifically about what you've had to overcome, what you are currently having to overcome in order to get to that end goal, that dream.
It's partnerships. You need to build partnerships. So with my role in the IMF, I built partnerships with the Ministry of Sport in each country, the Sports Council in each country, then the National Olympic Committee and the Commonwealth Games Associations of those countries, because the netball associations do not have the funding. Of course, South Africa is extremely strong because South Africa, there's a sports lotto in South Africa that was assisting them all the time throughout, up to the process, where South Africa could prove themselves. And, once proving yourself, you attract the sponsorships. And once, you have the sponsorships on board, you have the resources to go from strength to strength and move on. The other African countries, we are on our way. It seems like slow, but we are making, good progress. So your challenges that you have in the countries are, proper facilities. Then, of course, you have the national customs and laws of a country that you also need to respect. The health and the safety of the athletes. They sometimes need to walk from one village to another village to do something or to get something to play netball. So establishing netball in a village would take care of some of those issues. And then, they don't have the shoes that they, to play netball in. In most cases, they play, barefoot, but they play netball. They don't necessarily have the right, netball gear to play in, the netball kit. And this is why I'm so grateful for all the assistance, that we get from the UK. But, one thing about the Africans, they're humble. They appreciate what they get. And for them, it's only as long as they can enjoy it and as long as they can, see the light in the tunnel. Those little girls, I did a project in Burundi. Burundi is very much French. That is West Africa. It's more central West Africa. Burundi. And, when I got there the first time, the 8-year, 9-year-old girls, they look after their siblings while their parents are working, on the fields to make ends meet. And for the very first time, we made those little 8, 9-year-old girls play netball. It was the first time that they were holding onto a real ball. And then them realizing that they don't only need to raise their siblings, but they can also play sport like boys. So there are those challenges, but we also work around, those, issues with partners, in those countries to overcome some of those challenges. I must say, I get some very good support from the Commonwealth Games associations, from the National Olympic Committees, and also from the sport councils.
What sort of support do you get from them?
In many cases, it's financial support because, especially when we do a netball safari, the Ministry of Sport will bring in, make sure that we bring in all the kids and all the teachers into one location for 5 to 6 days. They pay for the transport, they pay for the meals, they pay for the accommodation, while the IMF would bring in the tutors and the equipment.
So that sounds like it's helping sort out any and all infrastructure problems. You know, any logistical issues. It's
absolutely. You know, we would, you know, if we could get a netball, a proper netball facility outside South Africa, in West Africa, in North Africa, in East Africa, then we could also bring in, you know, international events to other parts of Africa, and just not only in South Africa. You know, you so want the Wales, the Scotland, the, you know, Northern Ireland, you know, the Australia, the New Zealand, to a netball event in other parts of Africa, and not only into South Africa, because that will raise the profile of netball to a different level. You know, South Africa's one of their partners is SuperSport. I'm sure you have heard about SuperSport. Now, SuperSport is, you know, is shown throughout Africa. And there where netball is played, whether it is the games that you attended. In fact, I was also at the event in London earlier this year at the Four Nations series. So, you know, you want all those games are shown live on SuperSport, you know, throughout Africa, because of the partnership between South Africa and SuperSport. And then the Africans are extremely excited. You know, it's amazing, Tao, how many men watch netball in Africa. You know, we get a very big support, you know, from men watching netball. In fact, most of our coaches, our umpires, you know, are men. Are male, you know, participants in netball. So if we can bring international events, you know, into other parts of Africa, but the only problem that we lack is, you know, a proper indoor facility.